Andi, who is the Regional Director of NCBI Switzerland.
Thank you. Good evening. We just have a very sweet example of what it means to bring NCBI to different language territories and difficulties and challenges and that go along with that development. So as the director of NCBI Switzerland, I represent NCBI Switzerland here. I'm also on the board of directors of NCBI International, but as the representative of NCBI Switzerland and that other countries in which NCBI is active, I want to congratulate and thank NCBI International for those 30 years of history. Wow, incredible, it's 30 years, and there are so many impressive accomplishments that have been presented already, so what should I talk about? There's certainly some best practices from Switzerland as well, and the name that I need to bring into the room right here is the name of Ron Halbright, sitting right there, who is the person who as a first person started NCBI in a country that was not English speaking, and we are celebrating our 20th anniversary next year, so it's been we have a huge history and a rich history to live on as well, with many innovative and transformative projects and with tens of thousands of workshops that we did in Switzerland. So many of our best practices focus on project activities, and many of these projects in the last 15 or 20 years were focusing on immigration issues in Switzerland, which is one of the toughest political topics in our country as well, just as in yours, probably in most countries of the world. We started this work on immigration issues started to be very active in the 1990s, when we had a campaign that was trying to prevent young people from Bosnian families that were refugees in Switzerland from being sent back into a country that they had fled from a couple of years before because there was war there. Basing on these activities with the Bosnian refugees, we produced a brochure that was called Dear Switzerland, and I think one of our best practices in all our project work was that we always try to find ways to make the stories of people from minorities, immigrants in Switzerland heard, and not only make them heard in workshop settings, but also in publications, in brochures, on DVDs. So many other publications followed from after that first one that was called Dear Switzerland, on Kosovarians in Switzerland, one on our workshops with Shoah survivors, one on Muslim immigrants in Switzerland, and so on. So together with these publications, we try to make these voices heard in workshop settings as well, and we developed encounter workshops with many different groups where people could actually get in touch and ask questions about minority groups and how they experienced their life in Switzerland, how they face discrimination, and with this innovative workshop model that we call encounters, I think we could reduce many fears and prejudices on minorities. New projects will be launched this year that are being directed at refugee populations from Eritrea and from Syria, and that these are two populations that face incredible challenges in their integration process in Switzerland right now. I think a second best practice is that we have often our activities have often focused on things that were right to come that were really current. So we launched projects when other organizations were not ready yet to deal with those projects, and we had a couple of years with these activities where we could actually build our reputation and focus on that, not only in the area of prejudice reduction, but also in the field of violence prevention and conflict resolution, where we did many other projects, starting 15 years ago with a peer mediation project that we called Peacemaker, that was addressing schools and the school systems, and this project has just been scientifically evaluated with very positive results a year ago. And based on these projects, we launched many other very innovative projects in the field of violence prevention and conflict resolution, such as city tours that were involving actors, that where the project encourages and trains people to intervene in violent situations in the public space, empowerment projects for young people who want to do something about corporal punishments in their families or their friends' families, or that want to reduce the fights that they have with their siblings when they are escalating too much. So there, I think in some way, one of our best practice was to be ready with an activity when things were getting public, getting actively being there and ready to do something about burning issues. So it's been a breathtaking journey for these last 20 years in Switzerland and 30 years here all over the place in different countries, and we're looking forward to the next 30 years. Thank you very much for your attention.